Hey folks, Gwe. Thank you for joining us today for morning prayer. Thank you for joining me for this reflection. Today I'm preaching from the Gospel of St. Mark. In particular, I'm preaching from chapter 6, verses 54 through 56. Here's what it says. When they got out of the boat, people at once recognized Jesus and rushed about the whole region and began to bring the sick on mats to wherever they heard that he was. And wherever he went, into villages or cities or farms, they laid the sick in the marketplaces and begged him that they might touch even the fringe of his cloak. And all who touched it were healed. Now, I've given this talk other days, in other ways. I've used other stories to say this, to make this point. Our reputation in the community matters. Jesus gets out of a boat on some shore. And the people there, they know at once who he is. Now, they don't have social media. They don't have television, newspapers. They don't have anything like that. They know who he is based on the description that they've heard. They know who he is based on how he has impacted neighboring communities, how he has impacted communities on the other side of a fairly large body of water. His reputation has grown throughout the countryside. Jesus of Nazareth. He looks like this, he sounds like that, he wears these kinds of robes, he travels with fellas that look like this and sound like that. Jesus' reputation preceded him. There was no need for confirmation. There was no need to, is that Jesus? I don't know. That might be Jesus, but I'm not sure. Hey, Jesus, could you heal this cut in my hand? Oh, look at that. That must really be Jesus. Okay, go get all the sick. Bring everybody in. He can do it. No. They just knew who he was because of the work that he had already done. They knew who he was because of the message that he had already offered. They knew who he was because of how he has impacted the communities and the peoples that he's encountered. News of who he was spread quickly. And when he arrived, everybody came to him. They got everybody they possibly could. They put the sick on mats, it said, and brought them to him. They brought the people that needed to be healed. They brought the people that they thought were demon-possessed. They came to him because they knew what he could provide. And so the question I have for our church being the universal church, is this: what is our reputation in our community? Is our reputation in our community one that tells people that when we are available, they can come forward, they can bring their sick, they can bring their dying, they can bring their poor, they can bring their possessed, that we will be there for them, that we will heal, we will provide, we will love and nurture, that we will support and teach? Or is it something else? Here in Canada right now, churches of many stripes are they have a real bad public image. Left or right, doesn't matter. Orthodox, Protestant, it doesn't matter. Churches of all kinds of different stripes are taking a beating because of who they've been in the past, because of the story that they've offered the world, because of their reputation, their history, their experience, because of the paths that they've traveled. In the U.S., it's not too terribly different. Actually, all around the world, it's not too terribly different. Churches don't really, for the most part, have a great reputation. Our loudest self-proclaimed ambassadors are the ones who teach the world that the church isn't a place to go for safety and comfort and healing. Our loudest self-proclaimed ambassadors often just have loud voices. And they can often say fairly hateful things that get picked up in the media and shared everywhere. It's quite the opposite of Jesus arriving on the shore. Jesus arrives on the shore, everybody brings the sick. We arrive on the shore, everybody runs away. Or, as we are beginning to see, they stand in protest. They don't want us there. Now, in the church, some will say things like, well, that's because they don't know what they actually need. If they actually knew what they needed, and they weren't buying into the lies of the world, they would come rushing to church in droves. They would fill our churches to overflowing if they knew what they actually needed. But my experience, especially with this channel and with social media, is that most people out there actually have a pretty good indication. They have a pretty good idea of what they need. The problem isn't that they don't know what they need. The problem I've come to understand is that they don't actually know what the church offers. They don't know what the church is supposed to be about. They don't know what the church is supposed to do in the community. And that is probably for more than any other reason because maybe the church doesn't actually understand its place in the world. And if we don't understand our place in the world, there's no way that the public, those outside of the church, could have any possible idea of who we are really supposed to be. There is no way that we can have a positive image within our communities. There's no way we can have a reputation like Jesus had this reputation. As Christians, followers of Jesus Christ, we can look at how the world reacts to Jesus in this particular passage. When he shows up, they know exactly who he is, and they go get the people that need him, and they bring those people to him, and they gather around him, and they listen to him, and they learn from him. They seek him. This was an indicator that Jesus was having an impact. This would have told Jesus that he was having a positive impact on these communities in his region, in his society. It's still a good indicator for us. All of us. Are the poor, the sick, the downtrodden, are the oppressed? Are they seeking us? Who are we to them? Who are we to the people in our communities who live on the margins? The castaways. If they are coming to us, if they are going and gathering their friends and coming to us, then we're on the right track. If not, then I think we have to reevaluate which track we're actually on. May the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May the Lord's face be made to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord's countenance be lifted up to you. May you always know the peace of being in the Lord's presence. And I pray that as church, we're developing a reputation, a positive reputation amongst those souls that are out there on the edges of our communities, on the margins of our communities. That our reputation is one that we are a place of comfort and safety, a place of healing, a place of community, a place of inclusion and connection, a place of love. Amen. Numultus.